Reborn into the world of Naruto, I have become the brother of Mito, Uzumaki Suna, who was never meant to exist. Madara, haha, lively mom. Are you going to dance too? Hashirama. Then let's turn up the music to the maximum. Let's go. Subsequently, the two picked up their phones and launched Naruto. Tsunade with a demonic back. Jiraiya became the foremost novelist in the ninja world. Orochimaru is on the path of cultivation. Minato became Hokage through food delivery. Shino began raising insects. Hinata developed a crush on Naruto and turned into a Yandere. Sakura became a dual-personality armored giant, a safe word for Sasuke. Obito gazed at Kakashi's photo in a daze late at night. Kakashi is no longer plagued by impotence. Chapter 1. Stop Madara? Me? At the entrance of Konoha village, a 12-year-old boy with red hair clung desperately to a man approximately 179 centimeters tall. Madara and I, you absolutely cannot leave. The boy cried, his heart wrenching as he clung to the man's leg. What on earth do you want, Uzumaki Suna? The man asked, his voice rising as he noticed the mixture of snot and tears threatening to soil his pants. This man is none other than the infamous Uchiha Madara, and the boy who is hanging off his leg like a dead dog is indeed our shameless protagonist, Uzumaki Suna. A few months ago, he was merely a genius who failed to pass a single examination. Dejected by his failure, he sought an escape, and, as he habitually opened a certain enigmatic website, a blinding light enveloped him and a truck came hurtling towards him. Upon regaining consciousness, he found himself in Konoha, with a vague recollection of the truck's front bearing the message, Chun Miao, you've crossed over. Indeed, Chun Miao was his name in his previous life, but such details are trivial now. Upon awakening, he realized he was beneath the Hokage rock in Konoha. A brief recollection of the original owner's memories revealed that this individual, the current Hokage Hashirama's little brother-in-law, was named Uzumaki Suna. The absurdity of his fall from Hokage rock stemmed from a foolish desire to dance atop it, leading to his untimely tumble, compounded by the fact that he was a complete wastrel. With no ninja skills whatsoever, not even the ability to harness chakra. What a ridiculous way to die. Was this person even mentioned in the original story? Chun Miao lamented, finding humor in this pitiful demise. Congratulations. You have bound the multiverse treasure system. A voice reminiscent of Silver Sand echoed in Chun Miao's mind. Huh? Silver Sand, is that you? Am I in Gintama or Naruto? Chun Miao stared at the interface before him in confusion. What's silver? What's sand? I am a multiverse treasure system. It is a blessing for you to be bound to me. The system retorted harshly. What the hell are you barking about? I was minding my own business when I got dragged to this place. I should be the one shouting at you. And besides, my lower body is paralyzed. Do you expect me to cosplay as Jonathan Joestar? Chun Miao exclaimed, gesturing awkwardly to his twisted legs. Why are you yelling? I never said I wouldn't heal you. You're just an incredibly difficult master to deal with. The system tossed a pill from the interface quite carelessly. Here's your medicine. Go pick it up yourself. But I must inform you, your time is limited, the system said with malicious amusement. You bastard. How dare you treat me like this? Chun Miao grimaced, but despite his anger, he crawled towards the pill with determination. Come on, just reach that pill, he muttered to himself, greedily eyeing the life-saving medicine. At last, he grasped the pill, muddy though it was, and without a second thought, swallowed whole. When he awakened again, his body was restored. He moved his arms and legs, feeling splendidly normal. Turning his gaze to the interface, he reflected on the indignity he had just endured at the hands of the system, feeling akin to a boy who had been humiliated 1,000 times. Nonetheless, he had no intention of severing ties with the system, as he would need its assistance in this world. The medicine worked wonders. I can no longer feel any pain, Chun Miao remarked with ease. Well, don't forget whose medicine it is. I am the most formidable multiverse treasure system, possessing all items from countless worlds. The system boasted proudly. Oh, so you're quite impressive, are you? What functions do you possess? Chun Miao inquired with playful curiosity. No joke. I am exceedingly powerful. I have a sign-in lottery and a marketplace system. Each day you sign in, you earn points that can be exchanged for items, and the marketplace refreshes daily with random goods. The prize pool is categorized into white, blue, purple, black, gold, and red tiers, with higher tier pools yielding better rewards. Impressive, right? The system anticipated Chun Miao's astonishment, but he remained utterly still. Chun Miao quietly scrutinized the system, not displaying any reaction. Is that it? Seems rather ordinary, he said calmly. What? You think it's ordinary? Who will want to use it? You jerk. The system went silent in frustration. Realizing the gravity of his situation, Chun Miao hastily changed his tone. After all, if the system truly abandoned him, he might as well have fallen to his death again. Oh wow, how amazing, dear system. You are the MVP. I, Chun Miao, am merely a lucky dog, he said, feigning enthusiasm. TSK. Truly infuriating. Fine, I'll let it slide this time, the system replied, still prideful. Yes, yes. I will surely repay the great kindness of the system, Chun Miao promised, looking up at the sky and thinking, I never expected to have a second chance at life. This time, I will live well, earn money, marry a beautiful heiress, and ascend to the pinnacle of life. Uzumaki Suena, huh? Although I have no idea where you came from, now that I am here, your name will surely resonate throughout the world. Just watch, I am no longer the nameless Chun Miao who failed to pass his exams. I am now Uzumaki Suena. He turned to the system. System, let's sign in. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have earned 10 points. Keep up the good work, Ding. Current mission dispatched. The familiar voice of the system echoed again. Oh, is it time to embark on my legendary life? Suena exclaimed excitedly. Mission, prevent Uchiha Sasuke from leaving. After all, you are both part of the same team. At the instant the mission appeared, time seemed to halt. Suena glanced at the solitary Hokage rock, and then at the system. Are you kidding me? Please take a good look at Hokage rock. At this point, Sasuke isn't even a tadpole. Chun Miao exclaimed furiously. Did I miscalculate the time? Let me scan again. The system initiated a blue scan. Indeed, it was a time misplacement. Let me revise the mission, the system said helplessly. As Suena contemplated the reliability of the system, he realized he had no other choice. Would it be possible to file a complaint to exchange it for something better? Just then, after a moment of silence, the system announced Suena's first task. New mission, prevent Uchiha Madara from leaving Konoha. Upon hearing this, the world seemed to pause once more. Suena stared blankly at the system, then pointed at his own bewildered face. Stop Uchiha Madara? Me? Chapter 2. The Unaging Madara. Ever since arriving in the world of Naruto and accepting the mission, Suena had never slackened his efforts. He found little information regarding Madara in the original owner's memories, leading him to deduce that their relationship was neither good nor bad. In fact, they had hardly met. Complicating Suena's future endeavors, I have been waiting at the entrance of Konoha for 3 months, yet I still haven't encountered Madara. At this rate, the villagers will start calling me a creep. Indeed, in the eyes of the villagers, Mizuna has become a genuine anomaly. After all, this individual fixates intensely on every passerby at the entrance, observing them with an insatiable gaze akin to a serpent in pursuit of its prey. Mizuna is distressed. If only he could ascertain the precise moment Madara would depart, he would find himself languishing at the gates of Konoha for 3 continuous months. Open the shop, he muttered silently amidst the scrutinizing eyes of the villagers. Upon the shop's revelation, 5 items materialized before him. The first item, titled Photo of Sister Yu, is priced at 250 virtue points. Its function is to allow an individual to perceive their most cherished person and persuade themselves, akin to a diminished version of the Koto Amatsukami, albeit with a chance of failure. A warning accompanies its description. Please refrain from using it on those with resolute will. Recalling a meme from his past life, Mizuna chuckled at the thought of a strong-willed Ibito. Gazing at the photograph depicting a figure clad in a vibrant northeastern floral coat, with a size 45-foot thrust towards the camera, he struggled to maintain his composure. What on earth is this? Is this thing even useful? If I use it, I might as well be a dog. Next, he turned his attention to another item. Revival voucher, priced at 1,145 virtue points, serves the purpose of resurrecting friends and family for home or travel. An essential item. Indeed, the description notes, the price increases with each purchase, and it may carry an unpleasant odor. Mizuna paused, momentarily taken aback. If I could resurrect the Sage of 6 Paths, wouldn't that render me invincible? He mused. Stop dreaming, kid. Those who are revived possess their own consciousness and are not under your control. The system interjected, exasperated by his daydreaming. Well, even so, reviving someone without cost is quite remarkable. Let's see the next item, Mizuna replied, somewhat resigned. The next item, the best sword in the village, is priced at 150 virtue points. Its utility is minimal, merely being the finest sword available in the village. The evaluation reads, "Kid, this is the best sword in the village. Using it without understanding the situation may yield unexpected results." As he examined the sword adorned with a ruby-encrusted hilt, he felt a sense of déjà vu, yet could not pinpoint from where he recognized it. Old Kwai's AD Calcium, priced at 20 virtue points, promises to soothe and calm the drinker. Its evaluation simply states, Old Kwai is going to the market. Mizuna stared at the AD Calcium, bemused. Was this truly a creation of carbon-based life? Golden Light Spell, priced at a staggering 20,000 virtue points, boasts high practicality as a technique from a certain world. The evaluation claims, with golden light enveloping me, I must maintain my youthful form for maximum efficacy. Mizuna's eyes widened in realization. This could be my ticket. If I master the golden light spell, I could wield earth-shattering power. Alas, it is far too expensive, he lamented, gazing longingly at his meager 900 virtue points. The system retorted, "You have no luck at all. Shall I be blamed for that? I am merely a humble guide." Mizuna's face flushed with emotion, a mix of embarrassment and frustration. Yet he knew he could only endure as dusk descended, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun. A tall, striking man with spiky hair, carrying an enormous fan, approached the gates of Konoha. Without a doubt, this was Uchiha Madara. Nice. Mizuna whispered excitedly from his hiding place, arms crossed in a gesture of anticipation. Just as Madara was about to step beyond the gates, a crimson figure suddenly dashed from the bushes. Madara, aware of the presence, had been informed of a peculiar individual lurking in the grass, but he had dismissed it as mere gossip. This directed at me? Madara murmured, preparing to wield his fan against the assailant. In a swift motion, the figure lunged at his legs. Not good. Madara hadn't anticipated such a lowly tactic. Just as he prepared to block, the figure executed a slide tackle, clinging to Madara's thigh, accompanied by a wail reminiscent of a slaughtered pig. Madara, you can't leave. Without you, Konoha will be leaderless. Mizuna screamed desperately. Who are you? Madara inquired, perplexed. Are you the brother of Mito? I didn't expect you to be the one to persuade me. Did Hashirama send you? Tell him our philosophies diverge, and our paths are no longer aligned. Our next encounter shall be as adversaries, Madara stated, his expression revealing a mixture of disdain and wisdom. That's not it. No, Madara, I've always admired you. You are such a formidable force in the ninja world. I've always wanted to become your apprentice. Mizuna pleaded, wiping his nose on Madara's trousers. Hearing these inconsistent words and witnessing Mizuna's provocative actions, Madara's eyes turned icy, resembling a gaze cast upon the dead. Suddenly, Madara seized Mizuna by the neck, lifting him off the ground. His irritation with Mizuna stemmed from his sister's actions, which had taken away his dear friend Hashirama. Kid, do you think because you are Hashirama's brother, I won't dare to kill you? You wish to dance with death, don't you? Madara's eyes bore down on Mizuna. In that moment, Mizuna felt an overwhelming sense of panic. He finally understood the true meaning of power and intimidation, and Madara's lion-like gaze rendered him breathless, the pressure mounting unbearably. In this life-threatening moment, Mizuna hastily devised a plan, recalling the item in the system shop. The photo of sister, you could be his sole chance. With a thought, he summoned the photo into his hands, struggling to hold it before Madara's eyes. Use it, he shouted with all his might, nearly gasping for air. You, my dear friend. A voice with a masculine undertone resonated. Madara's grip slackened as he gazed incredulously at the figure before him. Hashirama? Madara exclaimed, astonished, observing his friend in what appeared to be an altered state. Hashirama stood clad in a vibrant northeastern floral coat and pants, barefoot, arms crossed, facing Madara. How did you end up here, Hashirama? Did you see your little brother on the brink of death and come to his aid? Madara questioned. No, Madara. I am here for you. I apologize for the Hokage matter. I have spoken with Tobirama. Once I step down, you shall be the second Hokage. So, Madara, I need you. Please don't leave me. Hashirama implored, extending his hand with heartfelt earnestness. Madara wished to respond, but gazing into Hashirama's eyes, he felt an uncharacteristic urge to believe him. Mizuna observed this exchange, fully aware of the photo's enchanting influence. Indeed, he could see Hashirama as well. This Hashirama appeared akin to a shadow clone, visible to all. My eyes! Mizuna winced at the blinding spectacle before him. Yet, I have managed to survive. He reflected. However, In the next moment, an unexpected event transpired. Hashirama abruptly planted his size 45 foot squarely on Madara's face, speaking with a strong northeastern accent. "You, my dear friend." Madara's expression darkened ominously. Mizuna turned pale, acutely aware of his impending doom. For at that moment, Madara activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. Chapter 3. Do I look like your younger brother? The words echoed in the chilling air as the immense presence of the figure loomed before him. The photograph materialized into shards, shattered by the overwhelming mental force of the being known as Ban. "Admit it, your illusionary skills are somewhat impressive," Ban remarked coldly, wiping away the footprints left by his colossal feet. "Have you contemplated the manner of your demise?" The question sent a shiver down Shui Nai's spine. He dared not respond, nor meet Ban's gaze. Instead, he lowered his head, desperately concocting strategies in his mind. "What should I do? What options do I have left? System, come forth and assist me." Shui Nai cried inwardly, his anxiety escalating. "What can I do? You brought this situation upon yourself. Seeking my help is futile," the system replied, exasperation evident in its tone. Panic gripped Shui Nai further as he processed the system's detached response. Suddenly, an abstract thought emerged in his mind, devoid of hesitation. His instinct for survival took over, and he uttered the taboo phrase, "Ban, do I resemble your brother?" As he spoke, he tousled his hair, transforming his naturally curly locks into a spiky mess. Ban abruptly halted his actions, gazing at the peculiar figure before him, an abstract, fiery-haired boy. Did Ban feel moved? In truth, he was seething with anger, contemplating how to eliminate the insolent boy before him. Yet Shui Nai remained oblivious, convinced that his words had struck a chord. Just as Shui Nai believed he had gained the upper hand, he started to say, "Ban, when suddenly, he felt a rapid shift in perspective. Before he could finish his sentence, he was sent flying, leaving only Ban's foot still planted on the ground. "Little brat, my initial intention was to teach you a lesson, but your persistent provocations have compelled me to reconsider. As the younger brother of the Water Clan, I shall not grant you such a merciful end," Ban declared, his figure flickering as he prepared to strike. At that moment, Shui Nai struggled to recover from the overwhelming force he had just endured. The ground behind him bore a large dent, and he felt numbness in his back and lower body. He could feel his hands, yet they throbbed with a piercing pain, his bones clearly broken. Broken bones? Numbness in my lower limbs? This feels eerily reminiscent of my fall from the Hokage rock. Shui Nai thought, his voice barely audible, akin to a whisper lost to the wind. Were it not for the potent bloodline of the Uzumaki clan granting him resilience, he was certain he would have become nothing more than a lifeless mass. Ouch! System, save me. This was the singular thought racing through Shui Nai's mind. You truly have a penchant for self-destruction. If it weren't for your remarkable lineage, you would have perished long ago. The system retorted, presenting him with a life-restoring pill, which he promptly consumed, as he lacked the strength to move. "Thank you," Shui Nai murmured, momentarily feeling a sense of relief. However, as he attempted to rise, he was met with a sight that would forever haunt him. "Susanoo," Ban uttered softly, summoning a towering, 7-meter-tall half-formed Susanoo, wielding a blue chakra blade that sliced through the air with a deafening whoosh. Shui Nai instinctively reacted, summoning every ounce of strength to evade the lethal strike. Yet he still lost one of his hands in the process. Gazing at his mangled limb, the young man who had once enjoyed a stable life in the modern world could no longer hold back his anguish. "Ah, my hand. My power of kings." Shui Nai lamented, clutching his injured hand and crying out in despair. "How could this happen? Why am I suffering like this? Where did I go wrong? I should be safely navigating the world of Naruto, ascending to greatness and marrying a beautiful heiress." At that moment, he failed to grasp that his current predicament was entirely of his own making. The notion of achieving greatness and marrying an heiress was nothing more than a fantasy. Reality was harsh, and everyone bore flesh and blood. If Shui Nai did not relinquish his arrogant mindset as a transmigrator, he would never integrate into the true world of Naruto. Meanwhile, Ban remained unfazed by the turmoil unfolding before him. Observing Shui Nai's frantic screams, he regarded him with curiosity, akin to watching a tenacious insect struggling for survival. "After taking a hit from me, can you still move? How amusing, a truly resilient little creature. Given a few more years, you might achieve something noteworthy, but alas, your time has run out." As he spoke, Ban swung his blade once more. Perhaps it was the pain that ignited a flicker of rage within Shui Nai, prompting an adrenaline rush that allowed him to narrowly dodge the strike. Do you think you can toy with me? I must show you my true power, Uchiha-ban. He shouted inwardly. Why not shout it out loud? Because voicing it might hasten my demise, while silence may grant me a fleeting chance. Suddenly, a sword materialized in Shuei Nai's hand, the finest blade in the village. As proclaimed by the marketplace. The marketplace warned that should one wield it without understanding the circumstances, unexpected outcomes may arise. Please, do not fail me now, Shuei Nai thought. Swinging the sword with all his might, Ban watched with intrigue as the blade, which Shuei Nai deemed his beacon of hope, struck the surface of Susanoo. Some might scoff at Shuei Nai's audacity, recalling how Sasuke had cleaved Susanoo with the Kusanagi and how Danzo had pierced it with a kunai. How could you wield a mere broken sword against me? Yet, none anticipated the ensuing moment. Without much exertion, the blade shattered with a resounding crack. Shuei Nai stood in shock, staring at the broken remnants of the sword. Ban smirked, a hint of mockery in his expression. How pitiful. Clinging to life yet refusing to concede, he chuckled softly. In that instant, Shuei Nai, gazing at the shattered sword, felt an unexpected sense of release. It was akin to a pilot, after being struck down, finding solace amidst the chaos. I knew it. A failure like me, unable to even thrive in another world. He thought. Darkness enveloped him as he leaned against a tree, surrounded by the broken trunks that had fallen from the impact. He had lost all will to survive. Quietly closing his eyes and succumbing to unconsciousness, Ban approached slowly, standing before Shuei Nai's battered form. Is he dead? He murmured softly. Suddenly, Shuei Nai's body began to regenerate. His once mangled form restoring itself, wounds healing completely. Ben could hardly believe his eyes. Such resilience to regrow from severed limbs. I withdraw my earlier statement, little one. You are destined to become renowned. However, that future may no longer exist. As Ban prepared to crush Shuei Nai's skull with his fan, a sudden voice thundered. Wood style, wood dragon technique. Ban swiftly retreated, narrowly avoiding the ferocious wooden dragon that surged toward him, and turned to face the newly arrived figure, the god of Shinobi. Senju Hashirama. Chapter 4. What has become of Shuei Nai? As Shuei Nai reopened his eyes, he found himself confronted by Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama, who stood protectively in front of him, cradled in the embrace of Uzumaki Mizuho. Mizuho was weeping uncontrollably, believing her brother was lost forever, the sibling she had cherished for so long seemingly gone. Though Shuei Nai bore no visible injuries, he was drenched in blood, giving the appearance of being lifeless. Sis. The call escaped Shuei Nai's lips, though it felt as if it were the instinctual reaction of his new body, reminiscent of the original Shuei Nai's voice. Upon hearing her brother's call, Mizuho, overcome with joy, tightened her embrace, tears streaming down her face. Shuei Nai felt warmth spread within him as he held her close. He had once had an elder sister who loved him dearly, but she had succumbed to illness, leaving him bereft of that affection. Seeing Shuei Nai awaken, Hashirama let out a sigh of relief, turning to face Ban. Why would you target a child? In a serious tone, Hashirama spoke to Madara, pondering to himself that even if Mito were to marry him, causing him to neglect Madara, it was unjust to take out his frustrations on a child. If Mito could hear Hashirama's thoughts, she would undoubtedly inquire who it was that frequently sought out his best friend. Returning home late, and leaving his wife to face the emptiness alone. Just as Madara was about to speak, he was interrupted by another voice. Aniki, I told you that this inherently wicked Uchiha is no good. Back in the day, I should have used the Flying Thunder God technique to slice him into pieces. Madara, already annoyed by the interruption, felt his anger rise further at Tobarama's mention of the Flying Thunder God technique. Senju Tobarama, do you wish to die? Madara coldly questioned. The inherently wicked Uchiha Madara is someone I will personally stand down, Tobarama. This matter is between Madara and myself. As the situation intensified, Suena could no longer remain passive. Sister, please let me go. They have misunderstood brother Madara. It is my fault. Upon hearing this, Mito released Suena, not out of fear for her safety, but rather out of trust in her, believing in this rare family bond. Brother-in-law, leave the rest to me. This is my mistake. And you, white-haired Tobarama, step aside. Why did Suena harbor such animosity towards Tobarama? It stemmed from his arrival in this world 3 months prior, where many of his habits diverged from those of the original. Initially, Mito found it peculiar that her brother had matured so much, and Hashirama also expressed that Suena had finally become a man. However, Tobarama, with his white hair, harbored deep suspicion. On one occasion, after Tsunade returned from chakra refinement training with a wild deer, Tobirama insisted it was a disguised enemy from another village. Had it not been for Hashirama and Mito's intervention, Tsunade would have faced a watery demise. Tsunade vowed to ensure that the wicked Senju Tobirama would pay the price. Observing Tsunade, Hashirama felt a sense of pride, recognizing him as a responsible young man. He was not concerned about Madara harming Tsunade, trusting that his dear friend would not act in such a manner. Yet, Tobirama was oblivious to these sentiments, and, seeing Tsunade approach Madara, shouted, "Tsunade, don't go near him. The wicked Uchiha Madara will turn you into minced meat." Unfazed by Tobirama's warning, Tsunade continued on his path, realizing the gravity of the situation. Tobirama quickly reached for his kunai, intending to use the flying thunder god to rescue Tsunade from the clutches of the wicked Uchiha. At that moment, Hashirama restrained Tobirama's hand. "Tobirama, do not interfere with Tsunade's own decisions," Hashirama stated sternly. "But Aniki, enough, Tobirama. I am the Hokage." Tobirama stared blankly at Hashirama's wise visage, bewildered. What on earth was he talking about? Although he thought this internally, he found himself saying aloud, "You will regret this, Aniki." Tobirama snapped back to reality, questioning why he had interjected. He wanted to say more, yet the look in his elder brother's eyes silenced him. As he stood ready to use the flying thunder god to save Tsunade from the wicked Uchiha, Madara curiously observed the young boy approaching him, eager to see what he would do next. Tsunade stood before Madara, gazing into his closed Sharingan eyes. An astonishing occurrence unfolded as Tsunade knelt down. "Brother Madara, I apologize for insulting your brother. I should not have spoken that way. I hold you in great esteem. You are a good brother and an admirable clan leader. I wish for you to remain. I do not want to see someone I respect leave the village, living alone and consumed by hatred." These sentiments were genuine, reflecting Tsunade's thoughts from his previous life about Madara, who had been deceived into leaving the village and living in solitude, ultimately facing the betrayal of his closest friend and a tragic end. Madara, taken aback by the boy's demeanor, felt a twinge of emotion and began to turn away with his fan. Hashirama, noticing his dear friend's intention to depart, grew anxious. "Wait, enough. Our paths diverge. As the stone tablet states, only through the infinite Tsukuyomi can we save the Uchiha and all ninjas of the Shinobi world." Before he could finish, another youthful voice interrupted. "Are you really going to leave the village for that broken stone tablet, Brother Madara?" Tsunade had risen, staring intently at Madara. "Little brat, that is not just any stone tablet. It is the clan monument left by the Uchiha, which holds the true. I do not care what it is. If that so-called infinite Tsukuyomi is a shackle, then I shall break it. I will save the Shinobi world my way. Please stay in the village, Brother Madara." Madara was momentarily taken aback by the determination in the boy's eyes, which shone with unwavering resolve. In the future, Madara would reflect on this moment, realizing that perhaps he truly glimpsed the elusive future of the Shinobi world within the depths of that boy's gaze. "How amusing," Madara chuckled softly. "Moreover, I possess the means to resurrect your brother. Please, trust me." Thinking that Madara was still intent on leaving, Tsunade quickly added, "But what if you cannot? Then I shall take my own life before you," Tsunade declared resolutely. The others present were astonished to hear such words from the child. Hashirama and Mito beamed with pride at Tsunade's growth, while Tobirama wore a pained expression. "No, I cannot agree. How can Tsunade make such a decision? To take his own life before the wicked Uchiha Madara? Aniki, this is utterly ridiculous. Clearly, no one paid him any heed. Reviving Izuna? Huh, little brat. Are you named Uzumaki Tsunade? Let me see the future you speak of." Madara laughed. Yet, Tsunade thought to himself that Madara truly was not suited for laughter. From a distance, Tobirama, thinking he was far enough away, failed to hear Madara's words and asked, "What happened to Izuna?" "Senju Tobirama, I'll take you on. Uchiha Madara, do not think yourself so formidable." As the two exchanged insults, a brawl ensued, with Hashirama eventually stepping in to separate them. The outcome saw Tobirama with half a broken forehead protector and a face swollen like a pig. "Cursed Uchiha Madara," Tobirama muttered under his breath. Tsunade stood beside Mito, helplessly watching the scene unfold. "Ding. Host has completed the task. Reward, 1,000 virtue points, 1 draw from the black prize pool. Ah, not bad. This task brought a worthwhile reward. Truly, it was a task that nearly cost me my life." Initially pleased with the reward before him, Tsunade's gaze shifted to his remaining virtue points, 750 points. "What? System, Explain to me what happened. Where are my virtue points? Tsunade shouted in anger. Not so fast, buddy. The revitalization pill costs 50 points to heal injuries, and the resurrection pill is 700 points. Had you not slashed at Susanoo when it was near death, you would have perished. I wouldn't have put in so much effort to save you. Hearing the system's words, Tsunade's face flushed. Oh dear, we're all friends. Come on. System, don't be upset. By the way, let us not mention slashing Susanoo again. Tsunade said shamelessly. Get lost. The system retorted angrily. This seemed like a favorable conclusion. But not everyone desired it. For instance, lurking in the dark thicket nearby was a figure, furious. Cursed Uzumaki Tsunade. My perfect plan has been nearly ruined. Mother, rest assured. I will definitely save you. The dark, ambiguous mass roared silently. Chapter 5, The Konoha Plan. At noon, a red-haired youth was bustling about in the kitchen. Ever since Obito returned to the village 3 days ago, Minato had scarcely enjoyed a peaceful slumber, now burdened with incessant worry. What was he to do? He had promised Obito to resurrect his brother Izuna, yet the system had yet to issue a single task. With only 750 virtue points in his pocket and the resurrection tickets long sold out in the system shop, he found himself utterly despondent. Come on, come fortune, come. Minato muttered strange phrases while performing gestures of supplication, as if to summon a few hundred virtue points into his pocket. Minato, hurry up. Your brother-in-law is waiting for us to deliver the meal. Mito interrupted Minato's peculiar ritual from the side. Okay, Minato replied weakly. This boy, had Obito truly rendered him foolish? Constantly mumbling about wealth and bowing at every turn. When questioned, he merely responded that there were a few hundred points in his wallet, leading Hashirama to take him seriously, which resulted in Hashirama also beginning to chant and bow. The more Mito thought about it, the more troubled he became. Perhaps I should peruse the ancient texts of the Uzumaki clan. I believe there are some exorcism techniques within, Mito pondered. Just then, Minato began shouting excitedly. Ding! Task acquired. The voice of the system resonated unexpectedly. I knew it. The heavens have blessed me. Before Minato lay the system's task interface. Task, the malevolent Senju Tobarama. Such humiliation. I, Uzumaki Minato, shall not rest until I avenge this grievance. Please, host, prank Senju Tobarama. Reward, 500 virtue points, 3 white lottery draws. What? I never said such things. System, do not be so abstract. Minato exclaimed. I merely articulated your innermost thoughts. Do you not wish for it? Do you truly not wish for it? The system's words echoed in Minato's ears like a devil's whisper. Naturally, he did wish for it. After a brief contemplation, he made his choice. Reflecting on the past 3 months of being constantly monitored, whether eating or sleeping, even in the restroom, he felt the weight of those watchful eyes. Senju Tobarama. Just you wait, Minato declared, packing 3 lunchboxes, each labeled for Obito, Hashirama, and Tobarama. While on his way, he suddenly remembered he still had a black lottery draw unused. System, I wish to draw. Without hesitation, Minato summoned the system to commence the lottery. Ding! Lottery initiated. Congratulations. You have obtained the Demon Blade, 1000 Blades, Ninja World Adaptation version. Huh, the Demon Blade, 1000 Blades? How fortunate. But what does Ninja World Adaptation version mean? Minato pondered, somewhat confused. It simply alters the activation condition from relying on spiritual energy to utilizing chakra. While that is advantageous, what if someone steals the blade? Minato inquired. The chakra activation condition applies solely to you. Others must possess strong will and malice. Should they fail to meet these criteria, the blade will retaliate, slowly draining their life force. Moreover, the system's products are already bound to their master. How could they be stolen? Is it truly that formidable? The system is impressive. Of course, do you not recognize who I am? The system replied proudly. Before long, they arrived at the Hokage building. Why have you come, the wicked Uchiha Obito? I am here to find Hashirama. What business is it of yours? Obito and Tobarama immediately exchanged hostile glances, leaving Hashirama awkwardly sandwiched between them. As Minato approached the office door, he began knocking. Brother-in-law, brother-in-law, I have brought lunch. Seeing his little brother-in-law, Hashirama sighed in relief. Is that you, Minato? Come in. Haha, I am famished. Upon entering, Minato observed the close proximity of Tobarama and Obito's faces. Obito, are you two about to kiss? Minato teased, prompting Obito to scowl and back away, whereas Tobarama exploded in indignation. How could I ever kiss the inherently evil Uchiha? Let it be known. I would rather die alone or leap from here than harbor any affection for the inherently evil Uchiha. Tobirama shouted. Humph. No Uchiha would be foolish enough to fall for you. Obito coldly retorted. Unbeknownst to them, their words would echo in the future. All right. We are all from the same village. There is no need for such hostility, Hashirama interjected, attempting to mediate. Shut up, you old fool. Be quiet, Hashirama. The two unexpectedly found common ground. Hashirama, with a glum expression, lowered his head. I am not a companion of the inherently evil Uchiha Obito. I am not a companion of the hideous, two-toned, blush-faced, white-haired freak. That is face paint. The inherently evil Uchiha Obito. At that moment, Tobirama's face flushed red, with wisps of smoke rising from his head. Is the pressure truly that intense? Truly a waste. What did you say, inherently evil Uchiha Obito? As the two seemed poised to clash, Minato, who had been silently observing, finally spoke up. All right, Tobirama, Obito, and brother-in-law, I have brought lunch. Let us eat. Tobirama initially did not comprehend who Minato referred to as Tobirama, but upon glancing at the assembly, he realized Minato was referring to him. Why am I Tobirama? What does that mean? Minato offered no reply, merely distributing the lunchboxes. Inside, I have included the sauce that little Minato has been perfecting for 2 months. Hearing this, Hashirama's eyes sparkled. Is that the sauce I have longed to taste? Hashirama murmured. The others exchanged glances of disbelief. Even Obito and Tobirama were intrigued. When Tobirama held the lunchbox, he could feel its substantial weight, and thus, he dismissed any further concern about the name. The despicable Uchiha Obito surely does not possess a lunch as good as mine, Tobirama thought. Minato scanned the enclosed space. And just as they were about to open the boxes, he interjected. Wait, I actually came to ask Tobirama to teach me ninjutsu. We could practice before eating, and the taste would be even better outside, Minato suggested. Tobirama, upon hearing this, hesitated to open the lunchbox. Is that so? Minato, you have grown. Very well. I shall teach you the ninjutsu I have recently developed, the exploding tag. I can teach you fire style, Obito chimed in. Tobirama shot Obito a glare. The wicked Uchiha Obito. You shall not teach him. Very well. I have heard that Obito's fire style is quite impressive, Minato exclaimed joyfully. Upon hearing this, Obito swallowed back the retort he had intended for Tobirama, merely sneering at him. Humph. Tobirama thought, if I were not adept at water style, would it be your turn? At that moment, Hashirama only heard, eating outside will surely be more enjoyable. Indeed, let us eat outside. Ha. The group fell into a contemplative silence. By the way, Tobirama, you mentioned you invented a new ninjutsu, right? You should add it to the ceiling book, Hashirama suddenly suggested. Tobirama, Chapter 6. The Konoha Plan 2. The group arrived at the training ground behind Konoha. Tobirama, quickly teach me ninjutsu, Minato eagerly implored. Tobirama, hearing this, felt a surge of joy. I shall begin by teaching you something simple. How about the exploding tag? The group fell silent once more. That is forbidden ninjutsu. It is not suitable for a 12-year-old child to learn. Hashirama interjected sternly, though his mouth was still full of food. But, before Minato could finish, Hashirama, still chewing, retorted. Be quiet. I only wish to eat. Observing his wise older brother and the flying morsels of rice, Tobirama chose silence, sensing that continuing this conversation might lead to dire consequences. Minato looked at the two with a mix of embarrassment and anticipation. Would they teach him or not? As Tobirama regained his composure, he turned to Minato and said, Minato, let me first teach you the B-rank ninjutsu, Water Dragon Bullet. What? The Water Dragon Bullet? I saw Kakashi and the others use 44 hand seals for that. How can I possibly manage that? At this moment, Minato felt a pang of anxiety. Watch closely, Tobirama declared, and in a swift motion, he executed just 3 hand seals. Water Release, Water Dragon Bullet. A colossal water dragon emerged from behind Tobirama, crashing into the training dummy, shattering it to pieces, and even uprooting several trees behind it, leaving a massive crater in the ground. Observing Tobirama's rapid hand seals and tremendous power, Minato suddenly remembered, oh my, I almost forgot this guy is a master of water release. Using only 3 seals for the Water Dragon Bullet. Come on, Minato, give it a try, Tobirama encouraged with a smile. Minato, overwhelmed by the thought of performing the technique with just 3 seals, felt utterly helpless. Tobirama, noticing Minato's despair, realized that beginning with 3 seals might be unrealistic. Let me start by teaching you the full 44 seals, Tobirama said calmly. Little did Minato know how helpless he would soon feel. 3 hours later, Minato collapsed to the ground, exclaiming, "I can't do it anymore." Tobirama shook his head in disappointment. "Minato, you can't approach it with such a mindset, otherwise, you won't be able to master ninjutsu." Minato was on the verge of tears, wishing he could ask his past self why he had sought out Tobirama to practice ninjutsu. It was too torturous. He glanced at Hashirama, who was sitting happily between Mito and Madara, wishing he could be like his brother-in-law, effortlessly summoning whatever he desired with a simple clap. Just then, Madara, having just finished his meal, seemed to catch Minato's desperate gaze and walked over. "Tobirama, are you really incapable, or should I take over?" Madara said calmly. To Minato, those ordinary words sounded like heavenly music. "Brother Madara, I knew you cared for me the most," Minato thought, feeling touched. Madara, noticing the warmth in Minato's eyes, felt a slight flush on his cheeks. When did this kid's gaze become so intense? He wondered. "Humph, the naturally wicked Uchiha Madara. Do you think you can teach better? If you can teach Minato, I'll eat my own words." Tobirama shouted in anger. "All right, you said it, Tobirama. Don't go back on your word," Madara replied with a smirk. "I, Tobirama Senju, shall summon a horse to ride. Let us not waste time and begin." Tobirama was so confident that Madara would not be able to teach Minato because even he, the master of water release, could not succeed. Madara, being skilled in fire release, would surely struggle even more. Tobirama sat beside Hashirama, observing the scene. "Minato, gather your chakra in your throat, and then perform the hand seals with me. Z, Cho, Wu, Shun, Hai, In." Following Madara's instructions, Minato gathered his chakra in his throat and began to form the seals. Z, Cho, Wu, Shun, Hai, In. Fire release, great fire destruction. In an instant, a torrent of flame erupted from Madara's mouth, incinerating vast swathes of trees into ash. "Fire release, great fire destruction," Minato shouted, and at that moment, he unleashed a flame that was a fraction of Madara's size. Observing this, Madara thought, Minato has quite the talent. It must be that Tobirama, that white-haired oddball. Didn't he teach him properly? Tobirama, on the other hand, was in shock. "Oh no, I've become a fool." His expression twisted in disbelief. "This can't be. Why isn't my water release working?" Then, a thought struck Tobirama. He quickly retrieved a chakra testing paper from his pocket and teleported next to Minato. "Minato, quickly, infuse a bit of chakra into this," Tobirama urged, clearly anxious. "All right." Without hesitation, Minato complied. The paper revealed indications of fire, earth, lightning, and wind, but notably lacked any sign of water. What a joke! Tobirama's expression turned abstract, his eyes wide open yet devoid of light. "Ha! Tobirama Senju, fulfill your promise." Madara laughed heartily. You. Tobirama gritted his teeth. "All right, brother Madara, don't make things difficult for Tobirama. He has had a tough time. Tobirama, you should eat first. Your meal is getting cold." Tobirama, who had yet to eat, looked at Minato, who spoke those words, as if he had seen an angel. "Minato truly cares for me." "Humph," Madara scoffed. Tobirama opened his lunchbox and was instantly hit by a foul odor. "Do you all smell something?" Tobirama asked, puzzled. "No, we don't smell anything," everyone replied. "Perhaps I asked the wrong question," Tobirama said, slightly confused. There was definitely a smell. Looking into the lunchbox, he noticed the brown paste and thought, "Why does it look a bit like?" This was Tobirama's inner voice, which he certainly could not voice aloud. Could he really suspect Minato, who looked like a little angel? Without hesitation, Tobirama took a bite. The taste was bitter and salty, making him grimace. Suddenly, his expression changed drastically. Gathering his courage, he took another bite. This is unbelievable," Tobirama stammered, his hands trembling and cold sweat running down his back. "It's feces," Tobirama shouted, his eyes rolling back as he collapsed to the ground. The master of water release from the Hidden Leaf Village, the future second Hokage, was left with an indelible stain on his reputation, eating excrement. Soon, Hashirama and Mito had to carry Tobirama to the hospital. Madara, understanding the situation, chuckled as he said he had matters to attend to and returned to the clan's territory, leaving Minato to walk alone toward the Senju clan's grounds. "Indeed, white-haired oddball. This is my plan, Uzumaki Minato," Minato exclaimed, striking a triumphant pose. "Ding! Congratulations, host, for completing the mission to prank Tobirama. The reward has been issued. Current integrity points, 1250. Oh dear, white-haired oddball, please don't blame me. After all, it was you who killed Izuna." So it's only reasonable that the integrity points come from you, Minato said, gazing at the magical blade, Senbon Sakura, in the system. Regardless of the circumstances, bringing this out seems too unreasonable. I need to think of a way. Just then, he was drawn to a sound coming from the wall of the women's bathhouse nearby. He saw two children, about his size, stacked on top of each other. Danzo, move up a bit more. I can't see inside. Hisashi, if you keep bothering me about this, we're done being friends. Minato watched as the two foolishly played their game of stacking. Clearly, Hisashi was oblivious to Minato's presence. Engrossed in their peculiar activity, while Danzo's face turned bright red, realizing Minato was watching but forcing himself not to look away. Danzo, move up a bit more. You're almost there. You'll be able to see soon. Hisashi urged excitedly. Danzo was speechless, but his expression conveyed a heightened determination. Despite everything, he pushed up, helping Hisashi get a better view, as they had been friends since childhood. Oh, nice. Hisashi crossed his arms, showing immense excitement, as if he had just tasted Mrs. Susan S. famous apple pie. Damn it, Hisashi, can't you hold still? I'm about to topple over. Danzo shouted. Sorry, Danzo. I'm just too excited. Don't worry, I'll switch soon, Hisashi apologized, hands together in a gesture of contrition. Get lost. I want to see. I've never seen anything so lewd. Danzo yelled, his face turning an even deeper shade. Thanks a lot, my good brother, Hisashi said, giving a thumbs up. Danzo, Hisashi, no longer hesitating, peeked inside, and a wave of springtime beauty flooded his vision. Oh wow, that one S so fair. That one S so ample. That skin is quite all right. That pear-shaped figure must be Sister Haruno from the flower shop. She looks so lovely when she smiles. I didn't realize her figure was so. Just as Hisashi was getting engrossed, two women suddenly entered his line of sight. Why does that woman have a mole next to her rear? And her body looks so familiar. The one next to her looks quite familiar too. There's a mole on her collarbone. Hisashi murmured in confusion. Hey, Hisashi, are you done yet? I can't hold on much longer. At this moment, Danzo was drenched in sweat, his legs trembling, clearly drained of strength. He was on the verge of collapse, yet his companion, Sarutobi Hiruzen, seemed to be observing him with familiar curiosity. Danzo, in a fit of frustration, thought to himself, I'm about to die from exhaustion, and you're just staring at old acquaintances. Nearby, Mizuno watched the two with a mix of disbelief and amusement, realizing that the cunning and deceptive Danzo and the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, were once such playful children. Truly, appearances can be deceiving. Before Mizuna could finish her thoughts, a sharp explosion erupted from Hiruzen's direction. What the hell? Is that my mother? He exclaimed, astonished. What? Hiruzen, are you peeping at an ant in the public bath? Danzo looked up incredulously at his friend above. Hiruzen, noticing Danzo's expression shift from disbelief to one of disgust, felt a wave of panic wash over him. Wait, Danzo, let me explain, it's not what you think. Hiruzen hurriedly tried to clarify. Hiruzen's voice reached the ears of his mother, Yuhi Kurinai, who, upon recognizing her son's voice, found a small opening to investigate. Revealing her son, Hiruzen, you better not let me catch you. If I do, you'll regret it, she shouted, storming out of the bathhouse. The women inside, hearing Kurinai's outcry, quickly wrapped themselves in towels and joined the chorus, shouting about a pervert. Mom, please let me explain. It's not what you think. Hiruzen pleaded desperately. Hiruzen? Another voice, filled with disbelief, chimed in. Mom. Danzo recognized this voice all too well. It was his own mother, Shimura Akane. Danzo, she exclaimed in shock, unable to fathom that her usually well-behaved son could engage in such behavior. Realizing that his mother was also present, Danzo's face flushed crimson, akin to a lobster. Hiruzen, you dare to peek at my mother? I'll make you pay, he exclaimed, forcefully throwing Hiruzen to the ground and mounting him, unleashing a flurry of punches. Danzo, wait. Let me explain. I didn't know your mom was here too. Can you blame me? Hiruzen defended himself, shielding his face. Shut up, you old dog. There's nothing to discuss now. You deserve to die, Danzo retorted, and the two continued their brawl. Mizuna, standing at a distance, could not catch their words but heard phrases involving mom and death, surmising that their fight stemmed from a disagreement over the incident. Just as she contemplated intervening, thinking they were friends and should not quarrel over such trivial matters, she took a few steps forward. I say, before she could finish, a horde of women burst from the bathhouse, shouting about capturing perverts, brandishing buckets, brooms, and mops, charging towards Hiruzen and Danzo. Among them, Kurinai led the charge, swinging her mop at Hiruzen several times. The two, who had been locked in a fierce struggle moments ago, suddenly found themselves in perfect synchrony as they fled. Mizuna stood there, momentarily bewildered, her hand frozen in midair, contemplating what she had intended to do. The women, frustrated at not being able to catch Hiruzen and Danzo, turned their attention to Mizuna, who was still standing with her hand raised. "Hello, ladies," Mizuna greeted politely. The next moment, she exclaimed, "Why are you trying to catch me? I haven't done anything wrong." She panted, running with the women in pursuit, wielding various makeshift weapons. Turning a corner, Mizuna was suddenly pulled into an alley. Feeling a hand cover her mouth, she sensed danger, thinking it might be an enemy infiltrating the village, and was about to draw her blade from the system. "Shoo," Hiruzen whispered, placing a finger to his lips, gesturing for silence. Upon recognizing him, Mizuna relaxed, pushing his hand away and grumbling, "I was only trying to mediate. Why did I get caught up in your bizarre antics? Huh, do you think we need your mediation? We were just having a bit of fun, right, Danzo?" Hiruzen turned to Danzo. Furious, Danzo shouted, "You shut up. I haven't even settled the score with you for peeking at my mother. I told you, it wasn't intentional, and I didn't want to look at your mother." Hiruzen shot back, "You can go to hell." And so, they resumed their skirmish. Mizuna shook her head in exasperation as she watched them. After a while, the two finally calmed down. "I apologize for earlier. I'm Hiruzen Sarutobi, aspiring to become Hokage. This is my friend, Danzo Shimura, who also dreams of becoming Hokage's advisor." Hiruzen introduced cheerfully. "Shut up, Hiruzen. I'm the one destined to become Hokage." Danzo retorted loudly. Mizuna observed them with a sense of resignation. "I'm Uzumaki Mizuna, and I aspire to change the shinobi world. Then marry a beautiful wife and have a son and a daughter, that's all." The two listened to Mizuna's ambitions, finding them both grand and ordinary at the same time. As the trio chatted, Mizuna's instincts sensed an approaching presence. Suddenly, a pair of large hands reached for them, drawing her magic blade, Thousand Blades. Mizuna deflected the hands with its scabbard, glaring at the newcomer. The figure wore the attire of Konoha, emblazoned with the word security on their arm. "Kid, good reflexes. Someone reported you for peeping. Come with us." Chapter 8. The mysterious summoning technique in the Uchiha Police Department's holding cell. The three young ones sat together. "Mizuna, your sword is so cool." Hiruzen admired the weapon, captivated by its intricate designs and the fact that its broken blade could extend. "Indeed. We just clashed with the security team and were quickly subdued," Mizuna recounted. "Can I touch it?" Hiruzen asked, eyes sparkling. "Absolutely not. This sword absorbs a person's life force." Mizuna replied seriously. "Isn't that a magic sword?" Danzo exclaimed in surprise. "Precisely, which is why I call it the magic blade, Thousand Blades." Hiruzen, feeling fortunate he hadn't touched it, withdrew his hand. As they discussed the sword, a voice suddenly interrupted from outside. The door swung open, revealing an Uchiha member. It was Uchiha Daiken, the team leader of the security squad who had apprehended them. "You three little brats. Someone has come to take you." After stepping outside, refrain from engaging in such degrading actions. The three individuals heard Uchiha Daigen's words, their lips twitching before they made their way to the door. Yet, for reasons unknown, Hisashi trembled as if he were a leaf in the wind. Upon noticing the red marks on his face, inflicted by his mother, Suena suddenly understood the source of his fear. "Hisashi, I wish you good fortune," Suena silently prayed for him. As they exited, it was indeed Hisashi's mother and Danzo's mother who awaited them. Without a word, Hisashi's mother unleashed a series of exaggerated blows, reminiscent of a fierce storm, culminating in a final, resounding strike that left Hisashi in a state of utter disarray. His body bore no semblance of wellness. In contrast, Danzo approached his mother with his head bowed. "Mother, I..." Before he could finish, he was enveloped in her embrace. Danzo was momentarily taken aback, unsure of how to respond. Just as he was about to speak, Izumi Akane interjected, "Mother understands that your father's early demise on the battlefield has forced you to mature prematurely. I have always feared you might tread the wrong path. Danzo, promise me that if anything troubles you, you will confide in me rather than suffer in silence." At that moment, Danzo's eyes brimmed with tears, and he nodded earnestly in agreement. Observing this tender scene were two figures, one tall and one small. Indeed, it was Madara and Suena. "By the way, Madara, why are you the one to pick me up?" Suena inquired, perplexed. "Oh, I recently returned to the clan and heard that the guards had captured a red-haired imp. I suspected it might be you, so I came to investigate, Madara replied coolly. I see. The group departed from the police department, each heading homeward. However, Yuan Feihua dragged Hisashi along, leaving a long trail of blood from the Uchiha clan to the Yuan clan. Upon hearing of the incident, Hisashi's father, Yuan Fei Sasuke, hung Hisashi from a tree within their clan grounds, leaving him to endure the night as a makeshift kite. In the dead of night, a venerable elder from the Yuan clan, upon witnessing Hisashi's pitiful state, mistook him for a ghost and was so frightened that he nearly perished from shock. Thus, Hisashi remained suspended until the following afternoon, nearly resembling dried meat, yet still alive. Returning to the present, Madara remarked, "By the way, I heard you possess a peculiar blade. Is it the one in your hand?" The two continued their walk through the Uchiha territory. Madara insisted on escorting Tsunade home, claiming he feared he would return shortly after parting ways. Observing the oddly patterned knife, he asked, "How did you acquire it?" In a moment of urgency, "I mistook it for an enemy's weapon and utilized a summoning technique to bring forth this blade," Tsunade explained. Summoning? The Uzumaki clan indeed harbors many secret arts. Perhaps you should inquire with Mito. She might possess insights, Madara mused, his gaze fixated on the knife, growing increasingly curious. "May I see it?" he requested. "Not at all, Madara. This knife absorbs life force. It can be lethal," Tsunade clarified. "Oh, then how come you can hold it without issue?" Madara queried. "I am unsure. Perhaps it is because I summoned it. I should be its master, right?" Tsunade pondered further. "Is there a summoning contract?" Madara continued to scrutinize the blade. At that moment, they arrived at the Uchiha training grounds. "Demonstrate its capabilities for me," Madara instructed as they entered. Just inside, a female member of the Uchiha clan emerged. "Greetings, clan leader," she said. Madara replied coldly. Upon catching sight of her face, Tsunade halted, captivated by her beauty. "She's stunning," was Tsunade's immediate impression. As the girl walked further away, Tsunade remained entranced by her silhouette. Madara interrupted. "Her name is Uchiha Chiri. She is likely of a similar age to Tobirama. Each time I see her, I feel her gaze is exceptionally unique." "Uchiha Chiri? That name sounds familiar, yet I can't quite place it," Tsunade mused. "Enough, little one. Do not become paralyzed by beauty. Come demonstrate for me," Madara called out as he walked away. "Right. Coming." Tsunade quickly followed. Standing before a training dummy, she declared, "Allow me to showcase the power of this blade." After stepping back a suitable distance, Tsunade drew the magical blade, channeling chakra to elongate it before delivering a decisive strike. Madara, witnessing the distance, was astonished. "Can it extend this far?" "Tsunade, can you make it longer?" he asked. "Yes, I can. But its length is primarily dependent on the amount of chakra I possess," Tsunade replied. "Is that so? Can it transform into other shapes?" Madara inquired again. "Indeed. But it requires precise chakra control, which I am currently unable to achieve," Tsunade admitted. "Ha, Tsunade, you will undoubtedly make a name for yourself in the future," Madara stated earnestly. "Really? I think so too, Madara," Tsunade responded with a confident smile. "Return home now. I will discuss your matters with Hashirama shortly," Madara instructed. Tsunade nodded, bidding him farewell before departing. Upon returning to her home in the Senju clan territory, she discovered her brother-in-law and sister had yet to return, likely still tending to the white-haired Chunin in the hospital. Lying beneath her blanket, she reflected on the day's events. She had successfully taken advantage of the white-haired Chunin, met Hisashi and Danzo, and managed to navigate the situation with the blade, all while contemplating Uchiha Chiri. With these thoughts, Tsunade drifted into slumber. In a side note, the daily life of Kurizetsu. Kurizetsu stood upon Hokage Rock, gazing wistfully at the moon. "Fear not, mother. I shall surely liberate you," he declared. "Ymura, Yui, you traitors will pay dearly. And that Uzumaki Tsunade, who thwarted my plans, she shall not escape retribution." Kurizetsu's eyes turned towards the Senju clan territory. "When mother returns, you will all become nourishment for the god tree." Just then, a crow flew overhead, dropping a large mess upon him. Kurizetsu fumed, "Accursed bird. When mother comes back, I shall have her roast you." Perhaps the crow understood, or perhaps it grew tired of him. It began to attack Kurizetsu. "Ah, get away, you foul creature." Kurizetsu stumbled and fell from Hokage Rock. "Damn it, I will return." His frustrated roar echoed from below the rock. Chapter 9. The Training of the Konoha Songstress Outside. The sun streamed through the window as Tsunade slowly opened her eyes. She had slept surprisingly well, feeling rejuvenated. Tsunade opened the shop and noticed the refreshed inventory. A tape recorder for 1 CP, a revival pill for 50 CP, a megaphone for 20 CP, a strawberry-flavored lollipop for 1 CP, and a divine light stick, single use, for 500 CP. Tsunade's eyes widened at the sight of the items. What? A divine light stick? Though it's a single-use item, it could serve as a trump card. I must purchase it. She promptly bought the divine light stick, feeling a slight pang of regret. After browsing the other items, she opted for a megaphone, which was no ordinary device. It was the kind mentioned in Wang Wei's poetry, capable of covering the entire land of fire and controlling its range. After acquiring the megaphone, Tsunade noticed the tape recorder and lollipops were comparatively inexpensive, so she spent 200 CP to procure a collection of them for her system. What about Madara's younger brother? I still haven't seen a revival scroll, even if I save it 1 TB of any use, she pondered, recalling a saying from her past life. Money is not saved, it is spent. Stretching and standing. Tsunade suddenly remembered that she had 3 opportunities for a white lottery draw remaining. System, let us indulge in a thrilling 3 consecutive white draws, she declared dramatically. Ding. Lottery commencing. Congratulations, host, you have obtained 10 revival pills, 1 clothing technique, and 1 music art. What are these? The system, what purpose do these things serve? Tsunade felt helpless, as he had no inkling of what they were. Surely, anyone with a modicum of sense could discern their significance. The garment technology encompasses all the crafting techniques from your previous world, and it even bestows upon you a certain skill. The musical arts comprise the entire repertoire from your prior existence, along with a foundation in singing and proficiency with instruments, the system elucidated. Wait, system, what exactly are you aiming for? What use are these to me? Do you expect me to become an idol and unite the ninja world through music? After uttering this, Tsunade suddenly recalled something. Ah, of course. Mental entertainment. How could I have overlooked that? But it mustn't be me. This is something I can explore later. Tsunade strolled to the window, striking a JoJo pose, one hand resting on the sill, feeling utterly elated. It was akin to donning fresh undergarments and welcoming the new year. He inhaled the crisp morning air, relishing its sweetness. Subsequently, he changed out of his pajamas and stepped out of his room. I'm so hungry, let us go eat, Tsunade remarked as he made his way to the living room, only to find his brother-in-law, sister, the silver-haired Chujuro, and even Itachi sitting together. Itachi is here too? What are you all doing sitting around with such serious expressions? Observing the solemnity on their faces, Tsunade felt an unsettling intuition. Tsunade, I heard from Itachi that you have mastered a unique summoning technique. Is that correct? Hashirama inquired. Yes, brother-in-law, what is the matter? Tsunade responded, puzzled. Madara has conveyed much about you. Could you demonstrate your abilities for us? Hashirama asked. Of course. Just as Tsunade was about to retrieve the magic blade, he noticed a new option labeled print in the system. System, what does this print entail? Tsunade inquired, filled with curiosity. It allows you to print the techniques and literary works you have acquired, thereby facilitating their transmission, the system replied leisurely. Upon hearing this, Tsunade's eyes sparkled. Wow, this expands my possibilities immensely. He then selected a song from his repertoire and proceeded to print it. Observing the sheet filled with lyrics materializing in the system's space, Tsunade was overjoyed. This is delightful. As the others were about to inquire about Tsunade's stillness, he reached out and produced a sheet of paper from the air. The group was taken aback, gazing at him in disbelief. Ninjutsu without hand signs was their collective first impression. Tsunade chuckled internally, trying to suppress his laughter, and placed the paper on the table, prompting everyone to examine the words inscribed upon it. In remembrance of the past, tears unquenched, the embroidered ball of color brings forth a good match. What could this possibly mean? Everyone stared in confusion at the text. I know. It must be a mysterious incantation, Hashirama declared, wide-eyed. No way. That looks like poetry or a song. Tobirama countered. Indeed, is it? Haha. I did that on purpose, Hashirama responded, awkwardly laughing. I told you, you're quite the airhead. Tobirama teased. Hashirama fell silent, his expression darkening as he looked down, appearing rather dejected. Indeed, this is singing. What do you think? Does anyone want to give it a try? Tsunade seemingly asked everyone, while his gaze remained fixed on Tobirama. Noticing Tsunade's intense stare, Tobirama spoke up. I'll give it a go. I find this song rather interesting. Tsunade's eyes lit up even further. I was waiting for you to say that. Hee hee. Meanwhile, Shuenai felt a mischievous thrill. Tobirama, however, sensed something amiss. Shuenai briefly instructed him on how to sing a few lines, and Tobirama insisted he could handle the rest on his own. Shuenai was particularly astonished. Could this be the enhancement of a dedicated background music? He retrieved a recording device and gestured for Tobirama to begin. In remembrance of the past, tears unquenched, the embroidered ball of color brings forth a good match. After finishing the song, Tobirama felt invigorated. Shuenai pressed the button on the recording device, and Tobirama's voice echoed back. The group gasped. What is this contraption? Shuenai explained. This is called a recording device. It captures voices and plays them back. Upon hearing this, Tobirama's eyes sparkled with excitement. This is a marvelous tool with strategic implications. It could be used to gather intelligence on enemies. Understanding Tobirama's intentions, Shuenai quickly produced 50 recording devices and placed them on the table. I believe these could greatly benefit the intelligence work of ninjas. Let us pass them on to you, Tobirama. It's a contribution to the village, Shuenai said with a smile. Tobirama nodded appreciatively, thinking, Shuenai, I recognize your will of fire. If I weren't yet to become Hokage, you would undoubtedly be the next. He mentally lauded Shuenai. Meanwhile, Hashirama, intrigued by such a fascinating device, clamored to try it as well. In the end, each person recorded a song. Hashirama chose Seeking Buddha. Madara selected Taking the Leap, and Mito opted for a special person. Mito even requested Hashirama to sing alongside her, which he gladly accepted, although Madara's expression soured. This song truly suits me, especially that line. Will we ever meet again? It's simply splendid, I assent it. Ha ha, Hashirama jested. I admit your Seeking Buddha is quite good, but my Taking the Leap is no less impressive, Madara retorted. Seeing the lively atmosphere among them, Shuenai felt relieved. In remembrance of the past, tears unquenched, Tobirama sang softly from behind. Chapter 10. Assisting Hashirama in quitting gambling. The living room buzzed with fervent discussion before gradually quieting down. Regardless, Shuenai, it's best not to reveal your mastery of the special summoning technique too early, at least until you have the strength to safeguard it, Tobirama said solemnly. I understand. Tobirama, I will be cautious, Shuenai replied with a smile. Tobirama sensed something was off about Shuenai's tone but could not pinpoint what it was, so he merely nodded. After a while, everyone finished their meals and went about their business. Just as Shuenai was about to leave, Mito pulled him back. Shuenai, do you have a moment? Shuenai? Bewildered, asked Sister. What is up? Well, I would like your assistance concerning your brother-in-law, Hashirama, Mito stated. Intrigued, Shuenai inquired, about brother-in-law? Is he having an affair? Impossible. He is usually so oblivious. He wouldn't do such a thing. However, a thought crossed Shuenai's mind. Could it be with Madara? As he contemplated Hashirama's carefree demeanor, he wondered, you don't mean to say it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. The more he pondered, the more anxious he became. Surely, it can't be true. At that moment, Mito continued, I want you to help your brother-in-law quit gambling. As Hokage, he must maintain a respectable image. Yet he spends all his time at the casino. What does that imply? Mito complained. You'd think him going to the casino is one thing. Yet he has never won even once. Isn't that strange? I can't help but wonder, how unlucky must one be to never win at all? So, I'm asking for your help. Observing the growing tension surrounding Mito, Shuenai sighed in relief. Thank goodness it's not about romantic entanglements. He muttered softly. What did you say? Mito asked, puzzled, having been too caught up in her grievances to hear clearly. Nothing. Shuenai hurriedly replied. All right. I was saying this task might be quite challenging, considering brother-in-law's gambling addiction. I fear I might not. Ding. Task released. Assist Senju Hashirama in successfully quitting gambling. Due to the task's difficulty, successfully quitting for a day will also be counted. Reward: 1,000 integrity points, 1 golden lottery draw. Upon seeing such a generous reward, Shuenai's eyes lit up, and his tone shifted rapidly. Well, I suppose I can't decline now. Laughter erupted as Mizuna awkwardly smiled. Mito sensed something peculiar about Mizuna but chose to remain silent, merely advising her that if it truly became difficult, she should let it go. Mizuna repeatedly assured him, all right, I understand. As they walked along the bustling streets of Konoha, Mizuna pondered how to help Hashirama quit gambling. I should first consult with Madara and the white-haired Choden, she thought, making her way toward Tobirama's laboratory. Oh no, another failure with the new technique. Tobirama lamented, frustrated by yet another setback in his development. Suddenly, The door to the lab swung open. Choden, what are you doing here? Mizuna inquired. I'm experimenting with a new technique. By the way, could you please refrain from calling me Choden? Tobirama replied with a hint of exasperation. Sure thing, Choden. No problem. Tobirama sighed. Now what brings you here? Surely, you didn't just come to bother me? Without looking up from his work, Mizuna exclaimed. You really can't keep anything from Choden, can you? You see, I want to help my brother-in-law quit gambling. She quickly recounted the situation to Tobirama. I see. Your sister-in-law has it tough, Tobirama remarked thoughtfully before assuring her, don't worry. I won't give my brother any money. Relieved, Mizuna stepped toward the door. Thank you, Choden. She called out. I told you not to call me Choden. In a blink, Mizuna found herself at the entrance of the Uchiha compound. What do you want, kid? It was Uchiha Daigen, who had previously apprehended her. I'm here to see Madara. Mizuna replied. Go back. Outsiders aren't allowed to enter the Uchiha compound. Daigen insisted, attempting to shoo her away. But I really have urgent business. Please let me in. Mizuna pleaded. How stubborn can you be? Just go back. Just as Mizuna was at a loss for what to do, a melodious voice chimed in. Daigen, what's going on? Turning around, Mizuna saw Uchiha Chiri, a striking young woman with long purple hair and a standard Uchiha attire adorned with the clan's fan emblem. She's even more beautiful up close. Mizuna thought to herself. Chiri, this kid wants to enter the Uchiha compound, but you know outsiders aren't allowed, Daigen explained. Chiri recognized Mizuna and smiled. I know this child. May I take him inside? With that, Daigen stepped aside. Chiri looked at Mizuna, who stood frozen in place, and gently took her hand. Mizuna felt warmth and softness radiating from Chiri's touch, causing her heart to race, possibly due to her past life as a timid chef. Chiri paused and released her hand, bringing Mizuna back to her senses. Blushing, she looked at Chiri and stammered, Thank you, big sister. Chiri smiled in response. No problem. In fact, you can call me Chirine. Mizuna quickly replied. Chirine, I'm Uzumaki Mizuna. Although her voice was soft, Chiri heard her. So, Mizuna, who are you looking for? Chiri asked. I want to find Madara, Mizuna answered. The clan leader? He hasn't returned yet. Would you like to wait at my house for a while? Chiri suggested. Sure, that sounds great. Mizuna eagerly agreed, realizing it would be her first visit to a girl's home. Chiri chuckled at Mizuna's reaction, and soon they arrived at her house. I'm home, Chiri called out, but no one responded, which puzzled Mizuna. Excuse me, she said as they entered the house. Once in the living room, Chiri asked Mizuna if she preferred juice or tea. Tea, please, Mizuna replied softly. You're quite different. I thought you'd want juice, Chiri remarked with a light laugh. I find juice too sweet, Mizuna explained. Is it too sweet? I think it's just right, Chiri questioned. Perhaps it's just my preference, Mizuna replied. After chatting for several hours, Chiri stood up and said, All right, it's about time for the clan leader to return. Let me walk you over. As they reached the entrance of Madara's home, they encountered him coming out. Madara, Mizuna waved. Clan leader, this kid wanted to see you, but I brought him to my house for a while. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Goodbye, clan leader, Chiri explained. Madara acknowledged her with a nod. Goodbye, Mizuna, Chiri said, lowering her head to Mizuna. By the way, Chirine, this is for you, Mizuna said, handing her 2 strawberry lollipops bought from the system. Candy? Thank you, Mizuna, Chiri said as she patted Mizuna's head and turned to leave. As Chiri walked away, she opened the packaging and tasted the lollipop, savoring the delightful strawberry flavor. Uzumaki Mizuna, what an interesting child, she mused, heading home. Standing there, Mizuna felt the warmth left on her head and turned to Madara, asking, Madara, what kind of person was Chirine in the past? After a moment's thought, Madara replied, She is a rather tragic yet exceptionally strong individual. I recall her father perished in battle prior to the village's establishment, and she awakened her 2 Tomo Sharingan afterward. Her mother passed away months after Konoha was founded due to injuries from earlier conflicts. It was then I noticed something different about her eyes. Mizuna was thankful she hadn't pried into Chiri's family matters. Otherwise, it would have felt like adding salt to an open wound. After a pause, Madara asked, You didn't come to see me just for this, did you? What is it you truly need? Mizuna smiled and looked at him. Madara, I do have another matter where I need your assistance. She then explained her desire to help Hashirama quit gambling. Upon hearing this, Madara recognized it as a worthy cause. After all, his dear friend was not only naive but also had a tendency to gamble excessively. Suddenly, Madara recalled that he couldn't entirely blame Hashirama. It seemed that every time Hashirama wagered something, his luck would inexplicably plummet, as if fate conspired against him. He remembered their childhood days by the river, competing to see who could urinate the farthest. Just as Madara began, Hashirama positioned himself behind him, and Madara, who despised having anyone behind him, felt exceedingly uncomfortable. Hashirama exploited this to gain an advantage, but when it was his turn, he found himself in agony due to a full bladder from drinking too much water. He dramatically complained about his kidneys, clutching his stomach instead. "Oh, my kidneys!" Hashirama cried out in distress. "Are you all right? And that's your stomach you're holding, right?" Madara asked, slightly panicked. "It's my kidneys. Oh, my kidneys." Hashirama continued to wail. "That is your stomach. Oh, my kidneys." Hashirama's voice grew weaker as he reiterated his plight. Madara recalled, if I hadn't helped Hashirama relieve himself, the future god of Shinobi would have perished from a full bladder. As Madara reminisced, he felt a faint blush on his cheeks. Noticing his silence and flushed face, Mizuno wondered if he was reluctant to help. "Madara, do you not wish to assist my brother-in-law? This is truly a good thing for him. Please, Ban, help my brother-in-law," Water Nai implored. Upon hearing this, Ban quickly realized that Water Nai had misunderstood. "It's nothing, Water Nai. I agree to help Hashirama quit gambling. I was merely reminded of some unpleasant memories," Ban explained, his face turning crimson. Seeing Ban's consent, Water Nai disregarded his embarrassment and beamed with joy. "Thank you, Ban," she exclaimed before departing from the Uchiha clan's grounds. Ban watched her retreating figure, regaining his composure before turning his gaze towards the Uchiha home of Izumi. Sighing heavily, he returned home, his current objective being to locate Hashirama and ensure he refrains from gambling for a full 24 hours. Meanwhile, Water Nai had reached the entrance of the Uchiha clan, where she encountered Uchiha Daijin standing guard, sparking a mischievous thought in her mind. "Oh, Uncle Daijin, why aren't you stopping me today?" "Humph," Uchiha Daijin snorted, clearly uninterested in engaging with Water Nai. "Oh, quite aloof today, aren't we? Look at me, Uncle Daijin." With that, Water Nai began a playful dance, hopping in and out, exclaiming, "I'm out. I'm back in. I'm out again. Come on, hit me, you fool." Initially, Uchiha Daijin intended to ignore her, but her antics and taunts proved too tempting. As he activated his Sharingan, preparing to teach her a lesson, Water Nai dashed away in a blur, leaving him fuming. "You little rascal, don't let me catch you. If I do, you'll regret it." Uchiha Daijin could only seethe in place, having kicked several blades of grass in frustration. At that moment, Hashirama had just been ousted by his wife. Earlier, he had approached Mito for some spending money, only to be met with an unusual outburst and was unceremoniously thrown out of their home. What happened? Did I do something to upset Mito again? But I haven't done anything wrong. Could it be because I spent all night talking with Ban? Pondering this, he heard the familiar calls of the casino's attendants beckoning customers. The sight drew him in, and the attendant, spotting Hashirama, exclaimed, "Ah, isn't this Lord Hokage? Care to join us for a game? I sense today will be your lucky day." As Hashirama listened to the attendant's tempting words, his hands itched to gamble, longing to dive in for a marathon of games. However, lacking funds, he found himself at a loss. After much contemplation, he thought of his good friend, Uchiha Ban. "I'll ask Ban for some money. He'll surely lend it to me." With that resolve, Hashirama raced towards the Uchiha clan. Meanwhile, the attendant at the casino looked on, puzzled. Is the sun rising in the west? Lord Hokage isn't gambling today? Upon arriving at the Uchiha clan's entrance, Hashirama spotted Uchiha Daijin, whose face was flushed. "Oh, Uncle Daijin, long time no see," he greeted with a smile. Uchiha Daijin thought to himself, didn't we just see each other last night? But refrained from saying it, greeting Hashirama in return. "Indeed, Lord Hokage, it has been a while." "Daijin, what's wrong? Didn't we just meet yesterday?" Hashirama asked, noticing the peculiar expression on Daigen's face. Daijin, his face reddening further, replied, "I'm perfectly fine." "Then why is your face so pale?" Hashirama innocently inquired. Uchiha Daijin could no longer contain his frustration. "What does my complexion have to do with you?" Seeing his elders so irate, Hashirama could only force a smile as he stepped into the Uchiha residence, heading towards Ban's home. Upon opening the door, Ban was greeted by the sight of his friend grinning widely. "Ban, could you lend me some money? I promise to return it double," Hashirama said cheerfully. Ban sighed at the sight of his dear friend. "I can't lend you any money, Hashirama." "Why not?" Hashirama pleaded, adopting a pitiful expression. Ban reluctantly shut the door, fearing he might give in to his friend's request. Faced with the closed door, Hashirama left the Uchiha clan with a heavy heart. As he stepped outside, he saw Uchiha Daijin, who appeared even paler than before. Uncle Daijin, why do you look so pale again? At Hashirama's words, Daigin's face turned crimson once more. Just as he was about to speak, he realized Hashirama had already disappeared from sight. That rascal. I can't keep up with him. On that day, everyone in the Uchiha clan heard the heart-wrenching cries echoing from within. In Chapter 12, titled Helping Hashirama Quit Gambling, Hashirama wandered the streets of Konoha, pondering the peculiar behavior of those around him. Why is no one willing to lend me money today? Have I borrowed too much in the past? Suddenly, a thought struck him, his younger brother, Tobirama. Hashirama recalled that he hadn't borrowed much from his brother, so this could work. He searched around and eventually found Tobirama in the laboratory. Toby, my dear brother, could you lend me some money? It's urgent. Tobirama, realizing the request was about money, immediately understood the situation. Absolutely not. Water Nai told me you must stop gambling. Confused as to why Water Nai was against his gambling, Hashirama pleaded, please, brother. My hands are itching. I'll die if I don't gamble. Seeing Tobirama remain unmoved, Hashirama continued, Tobirama, trust me, children don't cry every day, and gamblers don't lose every time. This time, I'll turn the tide and repay you double. Seeing his brother's desperate demeanor, Tobirama sighed, choosing to ignore him and returning to his ninjutsu research. Hashirama, feeling disheartened by his brother's indifference, lowered his head. Suddenly, he noticed a stack of cash on the experimental desk, clearly meant for Tobirama's research expenses. In that moment, Hashirama's left brain urged him to take the money for gambling, promising to repay Tobirama with double, while his right brain insisted on maintaining his integrity. Ultimately, his left brain prevailed. In a flash, Hashirama snatched the money, wrote a note, and placed it on the desk before swiftly leaving the laboratory. Tobirama, absorbed in his research, remained unaware of his brother's absence until he ran out of materials. Thinking Hashirama was still there, he began to speak again. Brother, I think before he could finish, he realized Hashirama had vanished. After searching the room, he found only the note left behind. Trust me, dear brother. I will repay you double. Love, your big brother. Upon reading Hashirama's note, Tobirama's cheeks flushed with warmth. Brother, I will never lend you money again. Tobirama wasn't angry about the lost money. He didn't particularly need it. He was more incensed by his brother's actions. As Hokage, how could he behave this way? Realizing he had let Water Nai down by promising not to lend money to Hashirama, Tobirama grew even angrier, but was left with no choice but to retrieve more money for his research materials. Meanwhile, Water Nai encountered Hizashi and Danzo, clearly still nursing his wounds. Water Nai, what are you up to? Tawanzo inquired, and upon hearing his voice, Mizuna felt compelled to ask the two individuals if they had seen Hashirama. However, both shook their heads in unison, indicating they had not encountered the Hokage. Subsequently, Mizuna divulged her plan, insisting that they assist her. The two listened, bewildered, contemplating the absurdity of obstructing the god of ninjas. Suddenly, Mizuna's gaze shifted toward the entrance of a nearby casino, where she spotted her brother-in-law, inexplicably clutching a wad of cash, cheerfully preparing to enter. Alarmed, Mizuna urged the two, quickly stop the Hokage. If he continues gambling, Konoha may be driven to bankruptcy. Once Konoha disbands, the clans will plunge into chaos, and we will be left without a home. Mizuna fabricated this tale, leaving the 12-year-olds in shock, believing Konoha was on the brink of dissolution. They rushed forward, clinging to Hashirama's legs, imploring, First Hokage, please don't. We can't let Konoha disband. I beg you to stop gambling. If you refrain, I will gladly spend the night with you. Their chaotic, please bewildered Hashirama. Konoha disbanding? Who said that? What does my gambling have to do with it? And what is this child talking about, spending the night? Why does that imply reluctance on my part? Am I truly that unappealing? Hashirama pondered, his mind overwhelmed by their nonsensical chatter. The two clinging to his legs hindered his movement, as he feared injuring them, especially since one was already wounded. Seizing the moment, Mizuna implored the system, I desperately need your assistance. I can't hold on much longer. Please send reinforcements. Mizuna anxiously addressed the system, lamenting, how can you fail at such a simple task? Hearing this, Mizuna felt exasperated. What do you mean simple? Are you calling the god of ninjas simple? And this is Hashirama Senju. The moment the game begins, he becomes serious. Mizuna mentally scoffed. Yes, please help my little brother. She gritted her teeth as she uttered those words. All right, Given your earnestness, I shall assist you, the system replied. Ding. Task assistance granted. Binding rope of the immortals. Those ensnared will lose all powers and become utterly weak. Once the rope is untied, the effect is automatically lifted. Electric baton. Adjustable high-voltage current to incapacitate individuals. Note: items will be returned post-task completion. Upon receiving such powerful items from the system, Mizuna felt invincible with the binding rope. Anyone bound would be at her mercy. However, upon reading the system's note, her spirits dampened. What? It's not permanent? What a disappointment. Mizuna lamented. Host, you are truly delusional. Moreover, it is not only temporary but also incurs a fee. 300 moral points for this assistance. Thank you for your patronage. Mizuna erupted in indignation. What do you mean it costs? How can you be so unscrupulous? She retorted. Displeased with the charges? Then don't use it. I traded moral points for this. Why shouldn't I utilize it? With that, Mizuna charged at Hashirama, wielding the electric baton, which sparked as it struck him. Yet, to her astonishment, Hashirama remained unscathed, while the two clinging to him collapsed to the ground, twitching. What gives? He is unaffected? Mizuna checked the baton's voltage, which read 250V. No way. He didn't fall? She gasped. Fool. Hashirama possesses sage body and sinew cells. How could he possibly be knocked out? Use the binding rope first, you imbecile. The system explained. All right. Mizuna realized. She increased the baton's power, initially contemplating 1000V, but reconsidered, fearing Hashirama's sage body might withstand it. Ultimately, she set it to 10,000V and tossed the binding rope at Hashirama, which ensnared him effortlessly. Hashirama, still bewildered by the sudden collapse of those around him, suddenly felt weak, sensing his chakra was sealed. Turning to see Mizuna wielding the baton behind him, he was about to inquire when she shouted, Look behind you. Darkness enveloped him. From Mizuna's perspective, Hashirama stood rigidly, enduring the electric shocks without faltering. Determined, she continued shocking him for a full 5 minutes before he finally succumbed. Now, Hashirama lay charred, clad only in his undergarments, his hair transformed from long and straight to an unruly mess. If one did not recognize him as Hashirama, they might mistake him for a refugee. Afterward, Mizuna remarked on Hashirama's incredible resilience, noting it took 10,000V for 5 minutes to bring him down. In reality, Hashirama lost consciousness the moment he was shocked. He remained upright due to muscle spasms induced by the electric current, only collapsing when his muscles finally adapted. The system acknowledged Hashirama's astounding durability, asserting that only a superpowered newcomer could rival him. Mizuna, gazing at the fallen, singed Hashirama, marveled at his strength while laboriously dragging him toward the Senju clan's domain. In her haste, she inadvertently removed the last shred of his modesty, leaving him exposed. Yet no one recognized him as their first Hokage due to his appearance. Instead, onlookers mistook him for a Cloud Village spy, some even applauding and tossing vegetables and eggs at him. Mizuna felt embarrassed, unable to explain the situation, while Hashirama lamented, Are they throwing cabbage at me? Chapter 13. Assisting Hashirama in overcoming gambling after a prolonged struggle, Mizuna successfully dragged Hashirama back to the Senju clan's residence. Upon arriving, Mizuho was taken aback, pointing at the figure Mizuna was dragging. Who is that? He looks familiar. Is that Hashirama? She questioned, puzzled. Wow, sister, I can't believe you recognized him in this state. I now acknowledge your love. Mizuna exclaimed in surprise. Not that it's difficult. I can tell by his size. Mizuho blushed as she responded. Mizuna turned to see the unmistakable wood dragon of Konoha. No wonder my brother-in-law is so accomplished. He must have practiced the wood dragon technique extensively. So that's why Madara enjoys being with him so much. The wood dragon technique must be immensely satisfying. Mizuna contemplated. By the way, how did your brother-in-law end up like this? Mizuho inquired. Mizuna, feeling embarrassed, turned to Mizuho to explain the circumstances. Well, it's for your brother-in-law's good, Mizuho sighed. Mizuna felt awkward, as she had partially explained the situation but omitted certain details, such as how Hashirama was unceremoniously dragged to the Senju clan's domain. She refrained from disclosing how many rocks they encountered along the way. That detail was inconsequential. Sister, may I borrow the basement for a moment? Could you assist me in getting my brother-in-law down there? Mizuna requested. Mizuho hesitated, feeling uneasy, and asked Mizuna for clarification on her intentions. Mizuna simply replied that she needed to help Hashirama overcome his gambling addiction and required certain measures. Reluctantly, Mizuho agreed, reasoning that her brother would not do anything harmful to her husband. Glancing at the charred, disheveled Hashirama, Mizuho felt uncertain but still helped her brother lift him. Sister, on the count of 3, let us exert our strength together. Okay, Mizuho agreed. 1, 2, heave. Shuina exerted herself even before counting to 3, leaving Mizuho momentarily disoriented. This caused Hashirama's body to be half lifted upward while the other half fell, creating a vigorous friction against the staircase. Initially perplexed, Mizuho quickly regained her composure and began to apply her strength. Suddenly, a sound reminiscent of something tearing filled the air. Shuina glanced at Hashirama and immediately began to sweat profusely. Oh no, the wooden dragon, she exclaimed. Before them, the previously barren steps were now marked by a tuft of fur and a pool of blood. Upon witnessing this, Shuina was drenched in sweat. Surely, it can't be serious, can it? It appears to be just a few clumps of fur that have fallen off. The wooden dragon's core should remain intact, she thought. Mizuho seemed to have noticed the fur as well and was about to speak when Shuina abruptly dashed forward to kick it away. Oh, what lovely weather we have today. Perfect for some leg exercises. Sister, would you like to join me? It's quite refreshing, Shuina exclaimed, attempting to mask her unease with laughter. Is that so? Mizuho replied, feeling bewildered by Shuina's odd behavior. Shuina quickly diverted the conversation, saying, Oh dear, it's not right to leave my brother-in-law exposed like this. He might catch a chill. With that, she covered Hashirama's lower body with a white cloth. Sister, we should hurry and bring him inside, Shuina urged, hastily dragging Hashirama along. Mizuho, finding her reasoning sound, assisted in moving Hashirama indoors. Upon reaching the basement door, Shuina suggested they support Hashirama down the stairs together. Mizuho agreed without hesitation. Sister, I'll count to 3, and we'll move slowly together, Mizuho declared. 1, 2. Before she could finish, Mizuho suddenly exerted force, catching Shuina off guard. They inadvertently flung Hashirama down the staircase. He tumbled down, and Shuina distinctly saw the wooden dragon twisting and swaying until he landed with a thud, propped against the wall, his face bruised from the fall. As Mizuho approached to check on Hashirama, Shuina swiftly blocked her. She slammed the door shut. Sister, I believe he will be fine. After all, my brother-in-law is a sage. He can't possibly be harmed. Mizuho considered Shuina's logic, recalling times when her husband had sustained grave injuries but recovered overnight. With that thought, she felt slightly reassured, dismissing the sight of Hashirama's bruised face as a figment of her fatigue. Afterward, Shuina and Mizuho prepared ice water and other supplies, all of which Shuina carried down herself, fearful of letting Mizuho see Hashirama in such a pitiable state. Once everything was set, Shuina instructed Mizuho not to come down regardless of the noises she might hear, insisting that she trust her. Mizuho had no choice but to comply, retreating to the bedroom for a well-deserved rest. Once Mizuho left, Shuina sighed in relief, thinking she could finally accomplish her task. She turned toward the basement, retrieving a mask from her pocket. This mask had been prepared in advance, resembling the philosophical figure from a past life, concealing everything but the nose, mouth, and eyes. As she gazed at Hashirama, bound to a chair, Shuina seemed to have made a resolute decision. Initially, her intention was merely to confine Hashirama in the basement for 24 hours, thus completing her task. However, upon reflection, she realized that Hashirama's gambling habit was detrimental, and if she could reform him, it would be beneficial. Therefore, Shuina resolved to help him genuinely quit gambling. She donned the mask and, for good measure, transformed herself into a muscular black man, stripping off her clothing to prevent Hashirama from recognizing her by her attire. Looking at her transformed appearance, Shuina mused, wow, this truly is quite philosophical. Upon hearing her own voice altered, she felt bemused. Even my voice has become philosophical, she thought, staring at her own muscular figure. Enough of this. There is no time to waste. Let's begin, she declared, turning her attention to the bound Hashirama. Brother-in-law, I hope you won't hold it against me. Shuina pondered, unaware that Hashirama would never know she was behind it. Shuina splashed ice water over Hashirama, who was already injured, jolting him awake. Where am I? He murmured, still dazed. As he looked at the figure before him, a fleeting memory surfaced of seeing Shuina just before he lost consciousness. The basement was dimly lit, with only a single light illuminating Hashirama's position, leaving the rest shrouded in darkness. The brightness forced him to squint. Shuina, is that you? What happened? How did I end up like this? He asked, his voice laced with confusion. But the figure before him remained silent. Once his eyes adjusted, Hashirama realized the darkness obscured the figure's face, but he couldn't help but note the impressive musculature. Shuina, when did you become so muscular? He wondered. Before he could finish his sentence, the shadowy figure stepped into the light. Goodness, this isn't just darkness obscuring my vision. This is an extraordinarily dark individual, Hashirama thought. Astonished, as he prepared to speak, the figure swiftly delivered an elbow strike. Man, echoed through the silence, as the figure wore a smile that sent chills down Hashirama's spine. I'm here to help you quit gambling, Shuina declared with a grin, though her smile was unsettling to Hashirama, causing him to tense up. Is it you, Shuina? Did she send you? Hashirama inquired, recalling the last moment before he fainted. No comment, Shuina replied, still smiling. Hashirama attempted to use his wood release technique to escape, only to find that his chakra had been sealed, leaving him powerless. What is happening? Why can't I exert any strength? He questioned, bewildered. Save your breath. I've sealed all your power. Unless you successfully quit gambling, you won't regain your strength. Shuina taunted. Curse it. I suppose I have no choice, Hashirama muttered. Shuina, noticing his sudden cold sweat, feared he had some hidden trump card. But Hashirama suddenly lifted his head and declared, all right, I've quit gambling. The atmosphere fell into an awkward silence as Shuina stared at him, taken aback. You truly are oblivious, she remarked. Shuina had anticipated a grand revelation, ready to defend herself. But this was the outcome? Huh, why isn't this working? Are you deceiving me? Hashirama pressed. Shuina was taken aback. You're asking me? She pointed to herself. Yes, I'm asking you. Hashirama insisted. Shuina, at a loss for words, replied, it must be because you're not sincere. Is that so? I swear I've completely quit gambling. If you don't believe me, let us make a bet. Shuina, growing impatient, produced an electric baton and set it to 250 volts, jabbing it into Hashirama. Due to his immense chakra and sage body, Hashirama initially felt nothing. However, with both sealed, he was left with only pain. Hashirama screamed as his muscles tightened. Now, will you gamble again? Shuina pressed. After a moment, Hashirama noticed the baton in her hand and suddenly recalled. That's why it looked so familiar. Shuina had it right before I fainted. As the tension mounted, Mizuna began to break into a cold sweat, and Hashirama, observing her demeanor, reaffirmed his suspicions. So, you transformed into Mizuna using a transformation technique, approached me, and attempted to ambush me, correct? Mizuna, somewhat bewildered, questioned the situation. Indeed. That's exactly what I did. I didn't expect you to be so clever. Senju Hashirama. Hashirama chuckled in response. Of course, I'm the Hokage. Suddenly, Mizuna shifted her tone, zapping Hashirama with an electric baton. Why are you asking so many questions? I demand to know if you're willing to gamble. Answer me. Look into my eyes. She proceeded to administer several more electric shocks. No more gambling. No more. Hashirama shrieked in reply. Noticing the system offered no prompts, Mizuna discerned he was lying. She then increased the voltage to 520 volts, shocking him again. Hashirama, realizing there was no room for negotiation, abandoned his pretense. I will gamble. Why not? What kind of man shies away from gambling? I, Hashirama, will wager 20,000 to win 2 million. He bellowed. Mizuna, fueled by the excitement, cranked the voltage to 1145 volts and retorted. How dare you say that? You've already lost 200 million. You haven't recouped a single coin. You've lost everything and still have the audacity to gamble? Children do not cry daily. Nor do gamblers lose perpetually. I refuse to keep losing. Hashirama insisted, though Mizuna pointedly reminded him, but you are continuously losing. With that, she shocked him again. After 2 hours of relentless torment, Hashirama slumped in his chair, his head bowed. Will you continue to gamble? Mizuna inquired loudly. Trembling, Hashirama lifted his head. Damn it. I'm still tough. All right, let us see how tough you are. Mizuna zapped him again. This time, Hashirama remained silent, utterly exhausted, his body twitching and muscles tense, creating a rather grotesque scene. Once the baton was removed, he slumped down again, silent and defeated. Seeing his stubbornness, Mizuna set aside the baton and grabbed a jar of mustard. Hey boy, you're so tough, huh? Let me teach you the price of arrogance. She coated her hands with mustard and slowly approached Hashirama, who fixed his gaze upon her, wide-eyed. Mizuna emitted strange sounds to disrupt his focus. Caw, caw, caw. Man, what can I say? Mamba out. The bizarre utterances nearly drove Hashirama to madness. Madara, save me. At that moment, in the Uchiha clan territory, Madara halted, glancing back towards the Senju district. What the hell? He murmured, but upon hearing nothing further, he resumed his path, attributing it to the wind. After several more hours of torment, night descended outside, yet Hashirama remained oblivious to the passage of time, entirely consumed by his ordeal. With his head bowed, wounds smeared with mustard, and clips affixed to his chest, he sat in silence. Mizuna, panting from exertion, couldn't comprehend Hashirama's tenacity. Just then, he muttered, "What is your name?" Taken aback, Mizuna realized he was inquiring about her identity. Glancing at her muscular figure, she finally declared, "Senju Hashirama. Remember it well? I am Ilunbai." Ilunbai, Hashirama echoed softly, the name reminiscent of something from the land of clouds. "If I manage to escape, I will surely return the favor," he murmured before losing consciousness. Mizuna, noting the late hour, reverted to her original form and dragged Hashirama up from the basement. Upon exiting, she found her sister and the white-haired Chunin seated at the dining table, engrossed in conversation. They turned, astonished at the sight of Hashirama in such disarray. After a lengthy explanation, they understood the events that transpired in the basement and admired Hashirama's stubbornness despite his condition. "Hashirama, even in such a state, you must persist," they encouraged. They tidied him up, but were unable to remove the enchanted ropes binding him, so they left him secured. Mizuna assured them he would be released by noon the next day, which eased their concerns, though one of them, Watergate, adamantly refused to let Hashirama into his room, expressing his aversion to sharing quarters with a mustard-flavored, bound ham, and thus they relegated him to the guest room. After aligning their stories, they returned to their respective chambers. Upon entering his room, Mizuna was greeted by the system's voice, exclaiming, "Hashirama is quite a character. A formidable individual. No, more than formidable, he's a wolf." Mizuna felt exasperated. Meanwhile, in the guest room, Hashirama found himself dreaming of Mizuna, transformed into a figure of ridicule, approaching him with a body coated in mustard. Despite his desperate attempts to retreat, he found the distance between them unchanging, leading him to despair. As the figure drew nearer, he shouted, "I have a date with Somalia and Cairo." At that moment, Madara, just falling asleep, shot upright. "What the hell?" he muttered, but only the rustling leaves outside answered him. "Am I just too tired lately?" Chapter 15. Me, Uzumaki Mizuna, School. As dawn broke, sunlight streamed through the window, awakening Mizuna to the system's notification. Ding. Congratulations, host, for completing the task of helping Hashirama quit gambling, 1 day. Reward, 1,000 virtue points and 1 golden lottery draw. Mizuna, thrilled, emitted a sound akin to a monkey's call. Hearing this, Tobirama pondered. Is the pressure of helping my brother quit gambling driving Mizuna mad? I must refrain from burdening him in the future. Inside, Mizuna gazed at her 1230 virtue points and the opportunity for a golden draw, brimming with excitement. "Oh, today's prize must be something exceptional," she declared, activating the lottery. Ding. Congratulations, host, for acquiring 100 points in non-attribute chakra control. Mizuna was taken aback. What does non-attribute chakra control 100 mean? System, could you clarify? She inquired. Child, you are truly dim-witted, the system replied exasperatedly. How could I possibly comprehend your convoluted explanation? Mizuna retorted. It means you can utilize non-attribute chakra to create numerous things you can imagine, with precise control, provided your chakra reserves are ample. The system clarified. Wow, that's incredible. I no longer need to envy the Uchiha's third power, Susanoo. If my chakra is sufficient, I can achieve anything. Mizuna exclaimed. Outside, Tobirama's expression darkened further. Mizuna cheerfully left her room and approached the dining table. Just as Tobirama was about to offer words of comfort, she cheerfully greeted, "Good morning, Tobirama." Hearing this, Tobirama was momentarily speechless, his intended words caught in his throat. Good morning, Mizuna, he replied, his face flushed. Noticing Tobirama's unusual color, Mizuna asked, "Tobirama, why is your face so pale?" The cold-hearted Tobi responded in a rather unfriendly manner, leaving Shuenai somewhat taken aback. "Oh," she replied calmly on the surface. But internally she pondered, are all the people in the shinobi world like this? How avant-garde. Meanwhile, Hashirama, having regained his strength after the disappearance of the sealing ropes, was quickly healing. Sunlight illuminated his face, as if he had been reborn in both body and soul. At that moment, Hashirama